There we go.
Okay, special commission meeting, September 8th, 7 o'clock. You want to call the roll, please, Roseanne?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Hopping,
Here.
Vice Mayor Kennedy,
I'm here.
Commissioner Ross,
I'm here.
Commissioner Samaria,
Yeah.
Commissioner Tudor.
Here.
Okay, we'll bypass the Pledge of Allegiance. Public comments is open.
A point of order, Mayor, if I may. There were a couple of items that I thought we agreed to hear on this, or they're kind of pressing, and I thought we'd see them on this agenda. One of which is, we spoke of at our last meeting, engaging Calvin Giordano with regard to the FDOT 6th Avenue project. I believe the interim manager was going to have a conversation with them and said that they would potentially come and give us a presentation of what they can, how they could work on FDOT for us. If we could add that to the agenda as an item. Also, I know that one of the compliance issues for CITT is a 5-year plan. So I was hoping to see a draft of a 5-year plan here for our consideration. And I don't see Paul with us any longer, so I don't know if we can have, if the interim manager has something, input on that for us. And third, during our budget workshops, we talked about recognizing our employees with something like a 1% bonus on par or close to par of what we are giving the police employees who are members of the PBA. And in doing that research, I also realized that all of our police officers are part of the PBA. So what we've approved recently is only going to affect a very few number of our employees. I'd like to see those 3 things added to the agenda, if you would.
I can tell you now, Commissioner Ross, on the FDOT, I don't have an answer from Calvin Giordano yet because they were going to contact the planner.
Can we just talk about them when they come up on the agenda, those 3 things?
Okay.
That's the hazard pay, the 1%, and the 5-year plan, and the FDOT. You had 3 things that you mentioned.
CITT 5-year plan, Calvin Giordano, that goes with FDOT, the 1% bonus pay for employees.
Are you adding them on? Is there any objection from anyone?
No, but I would like to bring up something as well when you're ready for me.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, Rox, thanks for mentioning those things. I see that everything on this agenda tonight is on consent. I wasn't expecting it to be that way. So I would like to ask that 5A and C be pulled for discussion. And I also thought that we were going to be filling a P&Z position tonight. I've mentioned several times I'm concerned about that board not making quorum and holding people up for permits. And I thought the period had passed for applications. We were told that there were people who applied, and I thought we would be filling that. So I'd like to, at the end, when Roseanne speaks with her list of things, I'd like to hear about that as well. I don't know if Caesar is still here. I was also hoping to get an update on Zoom in the log cabin. He and I had a meeting over there, 2 meetings at the log cabin, and he was looking into a solution. And given that we, very, very quickly here, we may be meeting in person, I think we need to see where we stand on that as well. If Roseanne could have Caesar address that or address that herself.
Okay. Now you wanted to take 5A off the consent agenda? Is that what you said?
Yeah, please. I just have a couple of quick questions about the contract for our new attorney. And regarding 5C, the meeting minutes, there are some things there that are missing and still not corrected. So well, let's just pull it off and I'll tell you what they are when we get there, because maybe we can just kind of fix them on the fly. We can't keep not approving meeting minutes because they've not been corrected, but we're down to 2 now. So
Okay,
hopefully just fix them.
I'll open up public comments relating to the, what?
If we're pulling things off of the consent agenda, I think we need to discuss 5B. I'm sorry.
He already took it off the consent agenda.
The local mitigation strategy, 5B.
He took A and B off the consent calendar.
I heard him
Took
say
A and C.
C, the
C is in
minutes.
Charlie. Yeah. 5 Apple, 5 Charlie is what I took off.
Okay,
took
and you
off
want
5
5B
banana.
off the consent calendar. Okay,
Thank you.
okay. We'll open it up again for public comments related to the agenda items and good and welfare. Roseanne, do we have, you're muted, Roseanne.
I'm sorry,
Roseanne.
Ross, you're unmuted, sir.
Chuck Ross again, 11166 Griffin Boulevard. There's something I wanted to add at the prior comments that I made, and I neglected to do so. Since we're now talking about the 5-year plan, it's vital that we come up with a transit, some sort of transit plan to use the transit funds with the CITT funds. I'm not positive, but I believe that transit and transportation may possibly travel together. And if you don't use the transit funds, and this is the thing that I gathered from in being involved with the CITT, trying to come up with the documents for the audit, et cetera, and listening to, I sat in on one of the meetings, that this is the part, and please confirm this with our finance director, Paul Winklejohn, that they want to see us do. They want to see us come up with a plan, and they want to see us use those funds. Thank you.
Okay. Bob Anderson?
Okay. I'm little by little, I'm learning how to use this, and I love having Zoom. I love it, and you're doing a great job, Rox. I mean, you're doing a great job. My thought is what Chuck just said. We need to be paying attention what CITT requires of us. We have this money. The citizens of Biscayne Park are paying it in their sales tax. We need to go ahead and make sure it stays within Biscayne Park and doesn't filter out to other cities in in the county. And the commission needs to go ahead and make sure we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. Also, we have other pressing issues that we really need to be looking at and getting a handle on. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Do you see any, Roseanne? I don't see any.
Roseanne, you're muted.
I'm sorry?
I don't see anybody waving to get in, you know.
Okay, our resolution 2020-47, engagement letters. Ed Dion, would you like to read that?
Thank you, Mayor. A resolution of the Village Commission of the Village of Biscayne Park, Florida, authorizing the interim village manager to execute the engagement letter agreement for village attorney between Neighbors Giblin and Nickerson, PA, and the Village of Biscayne Park for professional legal services and expend budgeted funds, providing for an effective date.
Okay.
Make a
You're
motion.
muted.
No, I'm not.
No, Commissioner. Go ahead, Commissioner Samaria.
I make a motion.
Right.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2020-47, engaging letter from Neighbors Giblin, Nickerson, retaining village attorney.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Commissioner
I'll second
Tuda. Okay, discussion?
If I may, I have a couple of things since I asked to pull this off consent. I just have a couple of questions real quickly about the agreement. But first of all, I just want to say hello to Ed and Valerie directly and say how happy I am to have you here working with us. And I may only be working with you for a couple of short months, but I look forward to your guidance while I am here. So welcome to Biscayne Park.
Thank you.
A couple of quick things. When we interviewed you, Ed, I'm the one who asked you the question about because you had presented a certain compensation plan to us, and I'm the one who asked you the question, would you agree to work for a flat fee of $75,000 for the first year? And I see that the agreement that came back to us, that you did work with us and you gave us 6 months. So can you tell us how that negotiation went? Because I wasn't aware of it until I got this.
There really wasn't a negotiation, Vice Mayor. All we're asking is that after 6 months that the village review the number of hours that we spent and have a discussion regarding the compensation. We are not going to change the amount. We just want to have that conversation after 6 months so that you can see how much work we've put in, how many hours we've put in. And if you deem it appropriate, we can talk about, some sort of an increase, but we are flat at $75,000.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much for that. We do appreciate you working with us, and we're not trying to shortchange you here in any way. It was just a way to sort of that we all get to enter this and get to know each other, and that was my intent when I asked you that. So I do appreciate you stepping up. And we will, if whoever's here then, will certainly take a look at the hours that you're spending, and I'm certain that we'll get detailed bills so we'll know what you're spending them on. I have a question about under section B. It says any special project that goes over 10 hours, you would bill us for differently. And you list some specific things there that I don't believe are coming up anytime in our near future. But are Ed and Valerie, are either of you aware of anything that we are working on that you would consider to be to fall under section B? Anything like FDOT, which is an ongoing thing that will be ramping up here over the next, I don't know how many months. Is there anything that we should sort of be aware of in that regard? Even, well, I'll let you fill in the blanks.
We have not been advised of any project that would approximate that. But it's just, in the event you decide you want a complete overhaul of the code of ordinances, that's not included in the original representation. But I'm not aware of any, and we certainly would discuss that with you all before we implemented that provision.
Okay, so it would be a conversation. Roseanne, are you aware of anything that you are concerned that may fall under that section and fall under the 10-hour rule? Is there anything that you're concerned about?
You mean regarding the FDOT?
The 10-hour rule, yeah. Any projects that we have underway right now or coming up that I may not be aware of, anything that we should sort of have on our radar screen?
Well, we have several issues going on, and I didn't get into all of them with Mr. John, just the ones that Mr. Herring forwarded to me, and I forwarded to him.
Okay, so you have no reason to think. I'm just looking for the heads up that something might be coming our way that we should all keep an eye on. And then the last thing I have is there's a 60-day notice. I was certain that our existing, or we didn't have a contract with John, but I guess we had an agreement with John. But our prior attorney worked on it. Yeah, we had 30-day notice with the previous firm that we were in a contract with. The 60 days. And I'm just noticing that was different. Is there a reason for that?
I was not aware of that previous deal. I don't have an objection to 30 days. The question is that going to be sufficient for you to find an interim?
Well, and that's my concern as well. I just know that it's different than the last time when we had a firm resign. It was a 30-day notice they gave us that per their contract. So I'm just noticing the difference, and I'm not suggesting one might be better than the other, because even when I thought about this today, I thought, geez, it's 30 days. You know, I mean, we came up with an interim attorney the night we needed him, quite frankly, but I'm not certain that can happen again. So is everyone else comfortable with 60 days? I'm just pointing out that it's different. If everyone's comfortable with that, then that's my last comment about the agreement. I think everything else looks great.
Just
Okay. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just have one comment, and Mr. Durham, you can explain to me how does it work as far as the Florida Bars Association goes when an attorney leaves or quits or resigns? What is his responsibility? Because I was under the impression that he had to stay on until the new law firm was hired or agreed to step in. I just want to be sure I understand that. Could you explain that to me?
It's really different in every circumstance, Commissioner. That's not always the case. You know, but you know, I can't speak to, you know, theoretical, but practically, that's why we put in the 60 days. We do that with all of our clients, just so that they have an opportunity to find somebody different. But I can't speak for what the Florida Bar requires of individual attorneys.
Okay, any other comments?
Well, is it possible that you can find out what that is for us?
I guess I can ask the Florida Bar if they can give me an opinion.
Because they gave me an opinion, so I was just.
But
Okay, Commissioner
Well,
Ross?
before we expend that time, Commissioner, is that something that the village really needs to know?
I don't think so.
I would think not.
No,
I would think not.
because I felt that John Herron should not have been able to resign. What happens if you would have decided that you didn't want to represent us tonight? We would be without an attorney. Doesn't an attorney have the responsibility to stay on until a new law firm is hired?
I don't believe that's the case legally. No.
Okay, so then what would have happened if you decided tonight that you didn't want to do this until you had a contract? We would be attorney, right?
You know, just because it's what we do, we would stay on until you found someone who is acceptable to the commission. But that's just because that's the way we practice.
Okay, let's not go there. Commissioner Ross, you wanted to speak?
Yes, this was not what I was going to say, but to be clear, the commission had already decided on hiring Neighbors Giblin, and that's what we're here to do tonight. I want to clear the air and say I advocated for John Herron because I know him and I've worked with him, and that was where my heart was. But I also want to say that I know Neighbors Giblin enjoys a stellar reputation. I'm well aware of the high caliber of your work product. At Dion, I have not had an opportunity to speak to many people who worked with you, but I did speak to some friends in administration, past administration, current administration, and elected officials in North Miami Beach, and every one of them had fabulous things to say about Valerie Vicente. So welcome. I'm sorry to downplay you, Ed.
That's okay.
Welcome, and I'm very glad. I feel that the village is in good hands, and I hope that we enjoy a long relationship with Neighbors Giblin.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other comments? Can we take a vote on 2020-47?
Yes.
I think we need a motion first, Commissioner.
I made a
Mayor.
motion. I made a motion.
I believe
you're right.
Commissioner Samaria made a motion, and it was
Yes.
seconded by Commissioner Tudor.
I
Yes.
apologize. You're correct.
You're forgiven. It's okay.
There's mistakes already.
Just once. Roseanne, you want to call the roll?
Mayor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaria,
Yes.
Commissioner Tudor,
Yes.
motion passed 5-0.
And again, thank you for being here.
Okay, resolution 2020-48. Ed?
I'll get used to it. Resolution of the mayor and the city commission of the village of Biscayne Park, Florida, adopting the current Miami-Dade County local mitigation strategy attached hereto in part as exhibit attachment A in accordance with the National Flood Insurance Program community rating system requirements, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
I make a motion to accept resolution 2020-48, Miami-Dade County local
Mitigation.
mitigation strategy. Thank you for that help.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Seconded by Commissioner Tudor.
Yeah.
Any discussion? Commissioner Ross?
Thank you. Yes, I wanted to discuss the local mitigation strategy plan because in years past, currently, the only reference to Biscayne Park in this plan refers to our comprehensive plan, which is fine. Everything that is stated there is in our comprehensive plan. But in years past, we had participated in local mitigation strategy meetings, quarterly meetings our administration had, and there were several other items of need in the village that had become part of that plan. Going back to 2012, we had put in the plan hardening of the rec center, and we had put in the plan stormwater projects, and we had put in the plan a bucket truck that we needed at one time. So it was actually a thought out process of real needs. And by the way, all of those things I referred to, we eventually found funding for, including at one point, renovating the log cabin was part of the plan and the need for a municipal building. So I'm concerned that we are just narrowing the focus to the immediate stormwater issue, because that's what was referred to from our comprehensive plan. And we're not positioning ourselves to take advantage of other funding opportunities that may be out there. So that's my one reservation about approving this. I understand we need to go forward because it's part of floodplain management. It has a role in that, but it is the local mitigation strategy, I think could be such a much larger umbrella that we're not taking advantage of.
Well, I know if we don't have this resolution, if they decide to give us any money, give money out, we won't be on the list. Any other discussion?
I think our Madam Ms. Valerie was trying to answer.
Yeah, I was confirming what the mayor had just said. This resolution approving the LMS has to be approved to even be a candidate for potential funding.
Yes. Any other discussion? You want to take a vote on that, Roseanne?
Okay, Mayor Hopkins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes, but I hope we do it better next time.
Commissioner Samaria,
Yes.
Commissioner Tudor,
Yes.
motion passed 5-0.
Okay, we now have the acceptance of commission minutes.
Okay, I asked for this to be pulled off consent, and if we can, I don't know if we're allowed to correct these on the fly or if anyone even cares to correct them, but this is the third or fourth time these have been in front of us on consent, and I keep pulling them off because I do take the time before meetings to read through these meeting minutes and make sure things are correct and confirm that votes are accurate and there are mistakes in here. I don't point out every mistake, but just the important ones. Two things. After the last meeting, when I pulled them off, I did, as promised, I emailed a list of all the corrections to Roseanne. I'm not sure you acknowledge that you got that, Roseanne, but it looks like you made most of the corrections. So thank you for that. The 2 or 3 meetings ago, when I first pulled these off, there were meeting minutes for the July 7th meeting. Those are now missing altogether. So we have never approved meeting minutes for the July 7th meeting. And in those meeting minutes, item 12A, the vote was incorrect. Whatever that item was, I don't have detailed notes here in front of me. It was 5-0 affirmation, and the vote was incorrect in the meeting minutes. So that needs to be corrected, and July 7th minutes should be added to this list. That's the first one. Do you want to?
I made that change, and I believe it was for August 4th, and it was approved. That minute was not pulled out. It was approved.
I pulled all the meeting minutes. We pulled them all. We didn't even consider them. We pulled them all. So I think you need to bring that one. You need to check the video if it's important enough. Look, guys, I'm just bringing up what I'm seeing here. If it's not that important, then just skip past it. But I pulled all the meeting minutes off consent. So we didn't approve any of them. And that one has never made it back in front of us. So July 7th has not been approved according to my notes. I might be wrong. I suggest you watch the video, Roseanne. The other thing is the July 23rd meeting. When I pulled it from consent, it was because the vote was incorrect. Dan Samaria made a motion to lower the tax rate, and it failed 4-1. And the vote was incorrect. You had it as a 3-2 vote, Rox and Dan voting in favor of it. It was not correct. And I know.
That was a 4-1 vote.
It was a 4-1 vote, but now
vote.
that vote is missed. Right, and now in the meeting minutes that are on this meeting, that vote is missing altogether. So the vote was not corrected. The vote is missing from the meeting minutes altogether. Rox, you're shaking your head no. Is that incorrect?
I would never approve lowering the millage. So
we're not
Yeah,
talking.
so
It was
exactly.
4-1.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not what the meeting minutes said. It did not say 4-1. And but now that vote is missing altogether from the meeting minutes that are on the agenda tonight. So if you look what's in front of you tonight on consent, that vote isn't even there.
But that vote was corrected, and the agenda, the minute was approved.
No, we didn't approve the July 23rd meeting minutes.
One of the meetings that you approved, the commission approved part of the minutes, but not total.
No, we pulled them all. They all got pulled, and I sent you a list. So at any rate, if those things need to get corrected, those votes are wrong.
It is corrected, yeah.
July 7th vote is wrong, okay? And July 23rd, the millage vote is wrong.
Okay, can we just
Okay, make a notation and check that one.
Just check it. Just make a notation now that we accept those changes.
Okay, what's the other one, Vice Mayor?
I have one.
July 7th and July 23rd meeting minutes.
Yeah, I make a note of that.
I have one.
Okay.
Well, wait a second. Let me see what's on the July 7th.
Not even there.
It's not on
July 7th isn't included in this packet, so I'm saying it's not here.
That's why I can't find it, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I couldn't find it either.
Because it was approved.
Can we, I think Rox wants to add something, but are we allowed to, maybe Roseanne can answer this, can we basically correct meeting minutes in agreement here and vote on them and not
Yes.
have to do this again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do that, yes. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
What was wrong with
So
the
Rox
July
wants to add
7th? Do you
something.
remember?
Whatever item 12A was, the vote was incorrect. The vote should be 5-0 in affirmation. And I believe it was 4-1
4-1.
in the meeting minute.
It was correct, yes.
What did you have, Roseanne?
I have Linda Dillon trying to speak because she helped me to correct, to go over. Can I allow Linda Dillon to? speak?
Yes. Yes, our number 1 volunteer. Go ahead, Linda.
I went back
Is
to
that
the
Roxanne?
July 23rd, I believe is the one that you're questioning, where Commissioner Samaria made a motion to reduce it, the millage rate, and he was the only one who voted for it. So it should have been 1-4, which is what it was.
Yeah.
But that's not what it was in the original meeting minutes.
The original minutes were corrected at the last time that they were presented, and we had this. You had this discussion then that
Yes.
the correct vote was 1-4. He was the only one for it. There
That's
were
correct.
4 against it.
Okay,
That is absolutely correct. The vote should reflect that it was 1-4.
Correct.
okay. Commissioner Ross, what is your,
My issue is with the June 2nd meeting minutes,
I need a second.
June 2nd. Under item 6A, there was a presentation by Waste Pro, Ken Rivera, and then we had a discussion about what next steps to take. At that time, we instructed the manager to get it work an extension with Waste Pro so that we could have service through November 30th. That was one vote. And we all approved it. And then also Mac made a motion for the manager to come back in August with 3 fully vetted options. One was the feasibility of in-house, bringing the operation in-house. The second one was potential piggyback from another municipality's contract. And the third was to issue an RFP immediately so that he could have bids back for us, for the commission to consider at the August meeting. And that is, I listened to the tape, the video this afternoon. That vote was what was at 1:34:51 into the meeting. It most definitely was for him to have issued the RFP, have the evaluation, and bring the bids back for us to consider. I had a discussion with the clerk about it, and she didn't hear it the same way that I did, but I have no doubt in my mind, and it's important because we're in the process still. The manager didn't comply with our request, and he subsequently resigned, but we've seen how managers come back and want to make claims afterwards. So I want to make sure that the record is reflected properly.
Yeah.
Okay, I seem to recall, Roseanne, that Commissioner Ross is right. There were 3 options.
Yeah.
And one was going in-house, and one was piggybacking. I do recall that.
Yeah, it's on the agenda. It's just that I didn't understand that they have to, I'm sorry, they have to bring the results of the RFP.
Yes.
Right.
So if those meetings could get be amended to show that we were looking for the result of the RFP, the actual evaluated bids, then the rest of it had minor changes, but this is the most important point for me.
Okay, could you send that over to Roseanne? And
I did send them over to Roseanne, but she
Oh,
didn't
I have
understand.
already. I have already. I can change that also. I can
you
change.
put them in, Roseanne?
Okay.
No problem.
Okay, so can we?
Okay. May I respond to that? Because I had originally pulled that meeting off as well, and not to be a contrarian here, but Rox, when I read what she provided to us for this meeting, I felt that she had corrected it. So I'm looking on the June 2nd meeting minutes, and it says Commissioner Kennedy motion to direct the manager to bring to the commission the following pre-feasibility study, piggybacking, and RFP/competitive bids for solid waste collection. It was the competitive bids part that was missing. Before, in all the prior versions that I kept pulling off consent, it only said RFP for solid waste collection.
Yeah.
Now it does say RFP/competitive bids for solid waste collection. So I felt that was the correction that I was looking for, Rox, unless you're saying that something else is missing.
The copy that I read didn't say competitive bids, and when I spoke to the clerk this afternoon about it, she didn't agree with me that 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 the manager was supposed to bring bids. So I didn't have anything to tell me anything different.
Like I said, Commissioner Ross, there was a lot of cross conversation. It was difficult to understand, but I understood that the commission wants to bring the interim manager to bring back RFP with competitive bids.
Well, maybe it should say evaluated competitive bids.
Well,
But
Okay,
Rox
Dan,
does make a very good point that
I-
we were extremely clear that night about what we wanted to come back, and maybe it doesn't exactly say it right, but it is important that we get that right,
Okay, could we just say that?
considering that a employee who left the village was the one who was told to do that.
So could we just add that to the minutes and then approve it with those changes?
Roseanne, can you read
And
those?
absolutely.
And if you want to make it completely correct, here is the other change that really should be made. If we want to cross all of our T's and dot all of our I's, that night, I'm the one who brought this up. That night, David said he could have all of that done for the July meeting. This was the June 2nd meeting. And David said he could do all of it for the July meeting the following month. I'm the one who said, David, I think that's a bit overly ambitious. Let's all agree to give him until August. He wants 1 month. Let's give him 2 so he can really get all these bids back and get all of this done properly and put this full set of information in front of us. That's what we agreed to. So David
Okay,
said,
but
I can
he's
get it
not
for the
here.
July
He's
meeting.
not here.
So
Okay, but all the more reason, Ginny, to make sure we get our meeting minutes right, because I'm the one who said, it's overly ambitious. Give him another month to get the job done well.
Doesn't matter.
That's what happened.
Yeah, I don't know if
It does matter.
I don't
It
think
does
the
matter.
minutes, I think the
It
meeting
does
minutes are
matter.
supposed to be a summary. I don't think they need to be as detailed as we're trying
supposed to be a
to
summary.
make them. It's supposed to be
thank you.
more of a big picture of what actually occurred during the meeting. I don't think we need individual statements of I said this, he said that. I think, that's the reason why we have the meetings video recorded and kept for public record purposes. I think this should just be very high level minutes. I don't know if the attorney has any opinion on that.
Yeah,
The motion should be stated correctly at a minimum.
yeah, I
Exactly.
totally
And the
agree with
votes,
that.
the results of the vote, and the votes should be stated correctly as well. If the vote is 5-0 and the meeting minutes say 4-1, that's a problem. That's
No,
not not high level.
No, the high level thing I'm talking about is we don't need to get into I told the manager to do this specific thing on this certain date. I don't think that's necessary, but I would like to hear from the attorney and no one talk over him.
We obviously, the minutes are not a verbatim transcript of what everybody said during the thing. It's supposed to be,
Right.
but I agree, Commissioner, that the motion should be correct and the votes should be correct. So if you have amendments you'd like to make, I'd suggest that we make them and approve these minutes subject to those amendments be made.
Thank you.
That's a good idea.
I agree.
Let's
Do
do
you
it.
have an amendment to make, Commissioner Ross?
Submitted amendments to the clerk on 2 occasions now. And, it's the same document. If they get incorporated or shared with the
Yeah,
commission.
they are incorporated, Commissioner Ross, the way you suggested, yes. Besides the,
Mine were also submitted in writing several times, so she has mine in writing.
So
yes,
I'm happy to approve with the amendments.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes, commission minutes with all those changes that Commissioner Kennedy Vice Mayor Kennedy and Commissioner Ross made.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, minutes are approved as amended. Now, we were supposed to go to,
The items for Commissioner Roxy.
mhm. Oh, I'm in the wrong minutes. Commissioner Ross, you wanted to add about FDOT and the 5-year plan?
Well, the first one actually is about engaging Calvin Giordano to help us with FDOT and State Road 915, organizing us to have a workshop and figure out how we're going to move forward with that, whether it's a lane reduction request or whatever the commission decides to do. But we need the help of our planners to get us through it, I believe.
The specific, I believe, if my memory is correct, because this again was my item and I was very specific about my request. There were two. One was to ask Roseanne to talk to Calvin Giordano and get an estimate to do the lane elimination study. That was the very specific thing that we wanted. I don't remember discussing with them like what it would cost or entail to run workshops and things. That would kind of be the next step. But the very first thing we wanted to find out was what will they charge us to do the lane elimination study. The second thing was we did instruct Roseanne to be in communication with Bao Ying from FDOT every time that we discuss FDOT in any way. I wasn't copied on an email to FDOT after that meeting, letting them know what had happened. So I'm not sure if that happened or not.
Didn't we have to, before we looked into didn't we have to get permission from FDOT to see if they would go along with the study?
That's the first step. That's what we were going to ask Calvin Giordano to do, to give us a quote, for that phase, that part of it.
No, to see if they would allow us to do a study. Because I understand
You have to request it.
FDOT would have to agree for us to do a study. I thought that was the first
Right, and the
one.
first thing, right, then that's what Calvin Giordano has to do. It's not just simply an email saying, hey, can we do a study? There's a process there and that's what's in that whole gigantic document. Remember, I said I just got this from FDOT today and it's a brand new whatever. It's a process. It's not simply, hey, can we do a study? It's a process. There's all kinds of things they have to provide to FDOT for FDOT to give the answer, yes, you can do the study or not. So that was the very specific thing we were going to ask Calvin Giordano to do. What's the estimate to do that first step?
Yeah.
There are 3 phases to the study, and the first was to
That was
request it.
not an estimate for the study.
No, just the estimate for the request, which in itself is a big project.
Uh-huh.
So at any rate, Roseanne.
Yeah, I got in contact with Alex David from Calvin Giordano, and he will go contact a planner. I believe he couldn't do it, and it's somebody that is specialized in FDOT. So that person would be the person to give us the estimate, and they will contact me, and they will ask, that person will ask exactly what we are looking for. And then they will provide the estimate, but so far I didn't have anything.
Okay.
Well, thank you for contacting them.
Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Now the other?
And of course, just to finalize that, anything that we have from them, of course, they're gonna get in contact with Bowing, and I will also contact her and get all the information for the commission, what's the conversation is going on.
Okay, the next thing was the 5-year plan with the CITT.
Let me see if Paul is still here, because I didn't get the final product of the CITT. Here's Paul.
The strategy with the CITT 5-year plan was to finalize the audit process, and then have them with that interpretation that we gained from the audit. They're going to help us develop the 5-year plan, because we're lacking in some areas, obviously, and we didn't want to develop the plan and then have it be redeveloped. They've agreed to that in our last conference call. So in the next few weeks, we're still wrapping up the audit right now. We have another meeting tomorrow. After that, then we'll put the focus on the 5-year and the quarterly plan submittals.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Ross, I understand you have a motion to do the 1% of the
I provided the clerk with a memo discussing the issue that we previewed during the workshops. I don't know that you have it in front of you because I didn't see an email come across with it. But last month, at the urging of County Mayor Carlos Jimenez, pursuant to the county's plan of approved categories of CARES Act reimbursable expenditures, the village approved a 1% COVID bonus pay increase for PBA police officers. At the time that we were discussing it, I did not know that we only have 5 police officers that are subject to that PBA contract. The benefit that we approved is payable retroactive to March 15th through December 31st. And I learned today from the finance director, Paul's associate, that during this fiscal year, 1920, the impact of that PBA hazard pay is going to be approximately $2,088. But then, of course, we have 9 officers who are not members of the PBA, and so that benefit doesn't apply to them. What I'm proposing is that we give parity to those 9 officers, the 1% pay, hazard pay, and that we also include a recognition pay for their added effort during COVID times to the balance of our village employees. The trouble is we approved a budget today, and it's very tight. So what I'm proposing is for a one-time bonus to be paid for the non-PBA employees, which would be sort of the equivalent of 1%, using their pay rate as of March 15th and extending the benefit through September 30th. And the reason that there's a rather urgent need for us to talk about it is that the checks would need to be cut before the end of the fiscal year on September 30th. The financial impact that Sharon gave us for that benefit, to pay that benefit to the balance of the non-PBA employees, is $5,649. So I asked the commission, and I apologize that you don't have the documents in front of you, but I would ask the commission if we would approve an expenditure to give parity to the non-PBA employees of that similar benefit in an amount, let's say, not to exceed $6,000.
Are you making that in a motion?
Madam Mayor,
It's a lot to take. I know it's a lot to take in as a concept and without having the numbers in front of you.
No.
But yeah, I'm going to make a motion, if I may, that we give parity to the non-PBA employees of a similar benefit in an amount not to exceed $6,000.
I'll second that, but Commissioner Ross,
Discussion on the motion?
yeah, yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Commissioner Snow.
Do we have that? I agree with you 100% on that. Do we have that in the present budget so that it doesn't reflect on next year's budget, since we're talking about a short period of time?
Thank you for asking that question, Commissioner Samaria. Yeah, we've seen through the latest financials, the latest monthly financials that were distributed that go through July 31st.
Right.
And even in our budget documents that project, we're going to be in the black this year, the year that ends now on September 30th.
Right.
So we have a little bit of excess revenues. Actually, we have nearly $500,000 of excess.
Yes.
So there's plenty of room to make this small gesture of appreciation to the rest of our employees, given that next year is going to be so tight. This is the time to do it.
No, I agreed. I think that's the point I was trying to make. We do have it in the budget now to do it. So I agree 100% with you. Even if we didn't have it in the budget, I would agree that they deserve the money. But I think we have it in the budget right now, so that shouldn't be. I don't see how any commissioner.
Any other discussion?
That's it. Thank you.
You're muted, Commissioner Kennedy.
Sorry, I mute myself because I know my microphone makes noise on my shirt. So, Rox, I hate to kind of put you on the spot here, but I didn't know this was going to come up tonight, and I haven't seen any backup. So I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying that I understand how you would calculate it, starting when and on what basis. But you're saying this is for all employees, including the police officers who are not part of that, or you're saying this is only for the police officers who are not part of that? I just want to be clear on who it's for.
All employees, I believe.
Right. What we already approved only covers 5 employees. And what I'm proposing is that we cover the other 9 officers, that's the
Okay.
staff and the part-timers, plus
Okay.
11 other full-timers and part-timers in administration, public works, and rec center. So that would be.
Understood. Okay. So you're saying some of the police officers were not lumped in with what we had approved on that MOU, or
Right.
they were because they're not members of the PBA. I understand. Okay. So you want to lump them all together. Okay. And the not to exceed amount of $6,000 is an aggregate amount for all of them or per person?
That's,
All of them.
the number that Sharon gave me from accounting was that the benefit to the 5 we approved is $2,088. And
Okay.
benefit for the balance of the employees is $5,649. So
Okay. Okay.
I'm just
Yeah, it's
saying
for all of them.
6.
Of course.
Ed Dion would like to say something?
Thank you, Commissioner, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioner Ross. Let me just clarify. It isn't because they're members of the PBA. The only reason that we're getting those monies back out of CARES funds is because those are full-time police officers. Everyone else is either command staff or part-time, and they don't fit within the requirements. So it isn't because of their PBA membership. It's because they're full-time police officers. I just wanted to clarify.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Rob.
But in addition to the MOU with the county, we also signed an amendment to the PBA contract. So that kind of tied us for those officers.
The ones that are part of the PBA, right?
Right. Regardless, I think there's parity for everyone.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Okay. So you're asking for an additional little less than $6,000 out of our fiscal 20 budget to pay it out now. Yeah, I think that's a dandy thing to do.
$6,000. Commissioner Tudor, do you have anything on that?
No, Mayor.
Whatever the amount is we have it in the budget.
Roseanne, you want to do a vote?
Yes. Mayor Hoffman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Ross,
Yes.
Commissioner Samaria,
Yes.
Commissioner Tudor.
Yes.
Motion passed 5-0.
Okay. Are you going to do a report, Roseanne?
I believe Vice Mayor Kennedy asked to
Yeah, I
add
think Commissioner Kennedy had something. I think
to add 2 items.
Yeah, I asked for 2 things. One is P and Z. When are we going to fill that slot on the board? I'm always concerned about that board because it's quasi-judicial and people's permits are held up. We only have 4 members right now. If they fail to meet quorum one meeting, we have residents who can't get permits, and that's not a good thing.
Okay,
So
I thought
we were going to fill it
Roseanne
in
was going to
September.
speak about that when she gives her report. Go ahead, Roseanne.
Yeah, this is on the agenda for October 6th. We're gonna advertise again to see if we get give the opportunity for any resident if they want to apply for, including to the Biscayne Park Foundation, which also have one opening, one seat open.
Okay.
The P&Z is functioning normally with 4 members, and they are having meetings regularly, and they are working, through all the cases that are presented to them. But yes, we need to fill up those opening seats as soon as possible. And I thought that October 6th would be a good time after the budget, everything.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Is there anything else, Roseanne, you wanted to talk about?
Well, Vice Mayor Kennedy also asked about the Zoom at the log cabin. CISA is still working with the phone doctor, the company that serves our telephone lines and internet and things like that. And he
Okay.
doesn't have an answer yet, so but he's still working on it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Do we have any word on how long has the governor extended the opportunity to hold Zoom meetings without physical quorum? When does that expire? I thought it expired end of September, or was that extended again?
It has not yet been extended. It's now September 30th or October 1st.
Yes.
But I expect he's going to extend it one more time before he opens up the rest of the state of Florida.
Yes, I believe so too.
Wonderful.
Yes. Ed, would you like to give a report, or I know you just started, so you really don't have too much to say, but.
Well, on behalf of my firm, I want to thank you all for putting your confidence in us to represent the village. We're really looking forward to this. But I think you can see from the conversation we had previously that there are some ways that we can reduce our involvement to making sure that we're only dealing with priority issues of the village and not some extraneous types of things that, while may be very interesting, may not be necessarily what you folks really want us to do. So I've just point that out to you. Again, Valerie and I are really excited about this. I think we're going to have a good time. We've already been working with the mayor and Roseanne. We extended the state of emergency today through next week. For some reason, we were extending them more than 7 days. The statute only requires municipalities to have emergencies in place in 7-day increments. So we fix that going forward. We'll make sure that we stay on top of that. We also dealt with Roseanne on the RFP for solid waste. We had a bunch of questions that came in from prospective proposers, and we worked with Roseanne and her staff to have those answers. We extended the deadline, as you've all been advised of, to October 1. They're just, because of all the questions, there just wasn't enough time to get that done as we originally intended. So those are the things that we've been working on. We'll continue to do that at your direction. And, all of you should know that we're easy to get a hold of. If there's something you need from either one of us, please contact us and we'll get right back to you.
Thank you very much.
May I ask you a question? May I ask Ed a quick question?
Yep.
I have not received an email from either of you, so I don't have a way to get a hold of you. If you wouldn't mind sending an email to me or anybody else who wants it and make an introduction so I can save you and start communicating with you directly, that'd be great. And I'm very happy that you'll be streamlining things. When we get a permanent manager in place, that will help as well, because everyone's stretched a little thin and then we don't have a lot of people to go to with some questions. Two specific things for you that are in your department, as it were. There was a construction, or at the meeting where we hired you, we had discussed a construction ordinance that we pulled off of as an ordinance and sent it back. We had a discussion and we sent it back to the attorney. Well, that's you now, and I don't. Do you have it done? I'm kidding. But actually, I just wanted to put it on your radar.
Vice Mayor, actually, Valerie and I were working on that today. But my recommendation,
Yay, thank you.
My recommendation is that we get with the building official, and work with that person to ensure that we're getting the things that you want to have in there and that we are lawfully authorized to do, and not do something that may be preempted by state law. But
Gotcha.
Yes, that's on
great.
our radar.
Of course, you can. Thank you so much for that. And we, our former manager filed a lawsuit against the village. Is there any update that we should hear from you now? Is that something that will go to the League of Cities? Can you give us any kind of an update on that?
We have not been notified on that, Vice Mayor Kennedy.
Vice Mayor, my understanding My understanding is that the village has not yet been served with that.
Yes.
And when they are, Roseanne is going to contact the League of Cities to see if they will represent you as they generally do in those types of instances, which obviously is going to save you a bunch of money, so you don't have to hire us to do that.
Yes, but I always,
Gotcha.
I always put our village attorney on informed also.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so we have not been served. I was under the understanding we were served when it was emailed to me. I
No,
get
it
it.
was filed in court. It wasn't, we weren't served yet. We would get
Okay,
some.
very good.
The only thing I have, Madam Mayor, for Mr. Duran, is in reference to the last attorney had conversations that commissioners had, phone calls where he was billing us, emails he wasn't. How is your policy? And would you recommend that commissioners go through the city manager? And
No.
I'm concerned about past billing, especially when we were Gray Robinson. Past billing was so high from commissioners. Right.
Well, the good news, Commissioner, is that we're doing this for a flat fee. And you will receive this. I mean, we will send to the city clerk or the village clerk every month our hours so that any one of you can review that and see what we've done. We will bill at in 6-minute increments for any time we spend on the telephone with you or for sending back and forth emails with you. So you will get to see what those are, but they're, you know, if we pick up the phone and we only talk for 5 minutes, you only get billed for 0.1 of an hour. So.
But you will identify who you're speaking to?
Yes, ma'am. And to the extent we can, we will also specify what the topic is. But there are sometimes, as you all know, there's some confidentiality involved. And, you know, you're going to have to trust us to use our discretion not to disclose confidential information.
Thank you. Is there any other comments from the commissioners?
No.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'd like to, yeah, I want to ask one thing. Roseanne, if residents have not been getting any kind of a report from the manager, David stopped doing it at a certain point when we directed him to change how he reports to us and to residents. That turned into a major kerfluffle at that meeting, and then he disappeared on us not long after that. But in the interim, he was not sending out any reports to us or residents, and since you took over, that's not happening as well. And Roseanne, I'm not criticizing you by saying this at all. I know what you're dealing with. However, I'm hoping that something can start happening because residents, I can't speak for the other commissioners, but I'm approached by residents on a daily basis, many times a day, about any number of village topics that they're not hearing about. They're used to seeing those, getting those emails and getting when they be posted on Nextdoor, and now they're not hearing anything. So we had also, you know, instructed the then manager, who's no longer here, to come back to us in October. I'm pretty certain it was my motion. With the format updated as we requested him to make that happen. I'm going to guess that you're not going to be able to get that done yourself, and nor would I expect you to, quite frankly, in your interim capacity. But I would like to know if it would be possible for you to do something to keep the lines of communications open with the village. I really don't like the feeling of residents not being proactively notified about what's going on. And we have some really good things. There's important stuff going on related to COVID. We have some really good things going on, like awards that are coming up, and you know, there's a whole spectrum of things that residents should know about. So I'm hoping that we can get something done. And if you need help doing that, I always volunteer my services when it comes time to writing stuff. I'm happy to do that for you, but I'm just hoping that we can do something.
What I'm trying to do is also everything any information that I received, I pass along to the commission almost immediately. So the commission are well informed of all the issues, all of the changes, and all the problems that arise. Of course, when there is one thing that involves the residents, a closure of lanes, of the streets, or collection of the trash that didn't complete, etc., I keep doing the e-blast like I always do. And that's what I think it's good enough for the commission to deal with their constituents, to inform if they want.
Thank you, Roseanne.
If I may,
Well-
I'm sorry, Mayor, if I may make a comment along those same lines. I do feel a little bit of a disconnect, not a lot of communication coming out. I know there's so many things going on and they're happening very fast, but I learned today that we hired a new building
I was just gonna say that.
coordinator. And I had no idea that we were even looking for one. I don't know what the state of our code department is, whether we have applicants for those 2 open positions. Good news today, I saw some trees being planted. That was great, but I feel I like we're
That
operating.
was sent an email.
Ask a specific question about something, I don't feel like I'm getting that information. And I appreciate that there's so much going on, but we really need to open up our lines of communication more.
Mhm.
Okay, Chief
Madam-
Cabrera, would you like to give a report?
I don't
Louis?
see, is he? Yeah.
He's there. He just, hi. Chief Cabrera, you're
Muted.
muted, so unmute. Would you like to give us a report of?
There you
Good
go.
evening, everybody. Good evening. I'll be brief and quick. I sent out a couple of emails relating to different, issues that we've been working on at the police department. Additionally, with code enforcement, we've been working with Kevin Giordano and the code officer that we brought on from that group. I'm in the process of identifying possibly 1 to 2 code enforcement officers. There's some obstacles that we're looking at because right now FACE is not recertifying, and I'm in the process of getting an opinion on these one of them is a former 30-something year employee in code. Do they need to get recertified to issue citations? I've been told no. I've been told that they can co-sign with the current inspector. So we're trying to overcome those obstacles. But overall, the gentleman that we do have from Calvin Giordano is phenomenal. He's doing a great job. And he's currently the only inspector that they have in Key Biscayne. So he's sharing his time between Key Biscayne and us. And he's available to us via phone and is extremely receptive and knowledgeable.
How about our little crash? Did we find out anything on the crash on 6th Avenue?
We have no further information. As you all know, we had today a water main a break between on 117 between 7 and 8. We called out North Miami and we had our public works people out there along with the police. But we've been busy. We're involved with I sent an email with the Kids with Cancer campaign. We were involved with Surfside today. There was an article written on us assisting them. We all the departments get together and do traffic enforcement in different locations. So we've been pretty busy. Tomorrow we'll be swearing in a neighborhood resource officer. He's been an officer for 44 years, and he was with the city, then Key Biscayne, and then he worked as a sergeant at another municipality. Now he's going to be our neighborhood resource officer.
Yes.
We've been busy.
Thank you, Chief Cabrera.
Let me
before-
comment on something. Thank you, Chief, for that report. The community resource officer, I'm going to file that under another great thing that the community should know about. Not only that you have that person being sworn in, but what it means. Because when you tell me, I'm a resident too, when you tell me I'm swearing in a community resource officer, it sounds like something that's good for me as a resident, but I really don't know what that means. So residents, I would like residents to be made aware of it and what it means to them. So back to this communication thing. it's important, and we can't wait for a couple of more months or however long it's going to take to get that done. Roseanne, if you need help, I told you guys before, if you sent me a list of all the things you want done, I would happily write up an email blast for you, topic by topic, the little blurb on each thing. I would never disseminate information on behalf of this village if it didn't come from one of you. I'd send it back, I'll write it for you, send it back to you. You do with it what you want. But I'm happy to help, and we need that help. So I hope you take me up on the offer, or someone up on the offer who's willing to help you, who will do it for free.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Madam Mayor,
Roseanne wants to speak.
No, I was just going to say, Commissioner Ross kind of stole my thunder. So what I like to do in the October meeting, if it's possible, to introduce the new employees that we have, especially the one from Code, even though he might be temporarily. If it's possible, I think that would be good if we can just, especially I had the opportunity of meeting her just today for the building department, and I think she's really, fantastic. And I think that it would be nice to be, if we can be brought to the commission, to the public, that way they can feel comfortable about it. Anytime we get new employees, I like to have them recognized.
I don't want her to be intimidated, but on the September 10th.
I tried to intimidate it and it didn't work. So if she can get past me as my intimidation, got it made.
On the September 10th planning and zoning meeting, I'm throwing her in right there. Of course, I'll be there with her. But if any commissioner wants to attend that meeting, which you guys know that you're allowed to. So Esperance Julius, that's her name. We call her Espy. She'll be there.
Well, it's not only for the commission. I really want it also, as Vice Mayor Kennedy says, this for the residents. I like the residents to know who the people are that are in the building department or any new employee. It's just.
Yes. It's a very long name, but she said to call it ST. It's a very long name. I'm sorry?
ST. ESTY.
ST.
ST, yeah. What's her name, Roseanne? What's her first name?
Esperance. Esperance.
Well, ST is much better.
Oh,
like hope.
Grace. Grace.
Okay, any other comments or a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Everybody.
We all jumped on that one. I'll second it.
That's not a good sign that three commissioners went to. Aye.
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 Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everybody.